Hey everyone, I was going to show you my DCC John bowl. Let's see, you can see all the added quite a few details, but I'm going to go ahead and go over those later. I just want to show you guys the best part in this running. This is DCC with sounds. I think I've got most of the sounds set up fairly close. So we're going to, and if you guys want to know anything, if you guys want to help me out with that, that's great. Let's go ahead. I got my controller here. We'll put this in forward, and it actually makes a click sound. There's forward. That's reverse. So then we'll hit the throttle right here. Go a little faster. And we can go crazy fast. I don't think this actually went that fast. But that's slowing down. It only had 3 sets of brakes, so I assume this didn't stop very well. There are no brakes on the locomotive. And this thing didn't have a crazy top speed, so, and then this, let's see what speed step is the slowest I can go. So that's 3 right there. That's 6. And of course we can go in reverse too. And of course we got number 1 is going to be bell. 2 is whistle. 3 is quick whistle. Let's see, some other fun ones. Here's the whole list. Ugh. I got my DCC number is 1831. Turn the bell off. Here's what I got. So we got headlamp, bell, whistle, mute. We got grade crossing, which is kind of neat. Which is 2 longs, a short, and a long. Let's see, F10. So in the second menu, see I'm in zeros. If I click that to the 10s, then this is blowdown. See that 10? So there's 10, and we got 13, which is going to be couple. Which that actually has a little bit of a good sound to it. Switching mode, which is a little, I might end up doing that so I get a little better speed steps. And then 16 is water stop. So 16 is going to be water sounds. So if I go, which I'm not exactly sure how they filled the water. I'm guessing it's this hatch right here. So they would have their water coming in right here. So then 6 would be filling that guy up right there. Okay, so that's pretty much all the good sounds. next thing, let's go ahead and shut everything off. I'll kind of go through all the stuff I've done here, starting with the locomotive here. So, couple mods I've done here. So we have the flags. They're stainless rods going through, up from the boiler through this little deck here, going up. And so we have the 4 flags from the museum. This is a brass smokestack that I turned on a lathe. That's kind of a cool addition. Let's see, painted just black and a closer green, and then coming down we have these two figures here. I forget what brand they are, but there's that guy wearing a nice little hat, and then we got this, I assume that's kind of his fireman. He's kind of just waiting for he's looking at the gauge right there, making sure the pressures are right. So we got him. Those are all good. These black plastic sleeves, they were worn and cracked, so I made some new ones, so those are white. Those will eventually be painted black, but the locomotive's pretty good. Looking pretty good. Okay, so then here is the tender. Now, all of the guts, the motor is in the tender, and what I've done here is, if you look at the prototype, they had some, it's kind of, it's link and pin, but they're 2 pads. The pads are kind of like a British setup, but they're vertical, and so from a distance it kind of looks kind of like this. I've kind of emulated this. So I'm emulating 2 little pads, and these on the tender, on the passenger cars, I've just created a brass coupler here, and I've added a neodymium magnet, soldered that to the back. So the couplers just couple like that. And there's enough power to them that they really don't unlatch. But those just connect like that, and there's a lot of travel there, and so they have a good amount of power to them. And so I've tried to emulate that, but the DCC controller is in the passenger car here. So I needed 4 wires to go from the car to the locomotive. So what I've done here is I've hidden my connector under the passenger car here. So this actually disconnects right here. And right here I have my, if you see these gold pins, those are my 4 connections. So 2 of them are for the motor, 2 of them are for left and right contacts. So we have, we're left and right for the track power. So this has 6, and then these are also metal, and they're picking up power from the rails. So we got 2 lefts right here, 2 lefts, 2 rights. So we have a total of 6 contacts per side. So that's really good. So I have inside this beam is my 4 wires, which is almost impossible to imagine, but there are 4 wires in there, and they terminate at the back of here, and so this is able to articulate and still have those wires coming out. So there's 2 wires terminating on the left side and 2 on the right side, and so that is still able to articulate through that, and so 2 for the track, 2 for the motor. And the motor is in here. It's got a new canless motor. I forget what it's called. It's one of the newer Bachmann motors, and I have made a whole bunch of little logs here and glued them in. And so there's that. Oh, and this right here, if you see this kind of flopping around, that is a poker. If I can get some lighting in there, but that is one of the pokers. There's a little hook right here, and this little poker was hanging on the hook, so I decided to make one of those. So there it is right there. There you can see it kind of like dangling right there. So it's on a loop instead of a hook. That way it just kind of stays with the locomotive. But there's some other doodads I might add to here. And then right here are these extra foot pegs that were not on the Bachmann. I added those foot pegs. And that looks good. I've added these braces right here. These are new. These bars. Yeah. And there's a dude that sits up here. I may add that dude later, but he's not there today. So basically, so this is actually epoxy right here. That's not actually two magnets. That's fake to make it look like the rest of the other ones over here. So all of the brains is in this guy right here. So this is let me do the dummy ones first. So these are the basic ones, and I have cut out holes and added doors here, and this white doorknob is literally a pin that I painted white to look like porcelain. So there's that, and this is, so these just kind of pop off like that, and here's the interior. So you can't, the windows on this thing are so small that it almost doesn't make sense to put people in there, but I think eventually I'll put a couple people in there. Yeah, and I also painted, it took me an hour a piece to do these little red squares on the windows. But yeah, that's the passenger cars, and there's this guy right here. They're all the same. These two are the same, and you can see those are those trucks, and then they have the brakes on the back and no brakes on the front. And so this one, I cranked down the screw a little harder, and so this one doesn't articulate because it's the rear. I didn't want it cockeyed, so that one pokes out straight at the very, very end. Okay, so those are the basic ones, and then this is the masterpiece right here. If I can pull this off without breaking it. So here is all of the guts inside. So if you look right here, this rectangle right here, that is the back of the speaker. And so the speaker is right here. It's kind of embedded in the floor. And the DCC controller is this brown piece right here. That is it's an N-scale Soundtraxx decoder, and all of the wires go to it. And in addition to that, if you look right here, 1, 2, 3, these barrels are an extra set of capacitors. There's 2 on that side, 3 on this side. And so these are my keep alive capacitors. They're kind of hard to see because they're painted. But there's a capacitor, there's a capacitor, and then my resistor and a little bit of the extra circuitry for the keep alive is over here. And so you can kind of see the wires. And this whole assembly screws on from that screw and that screw right there. But that is an attempt to make it as hidden as possible. You can see from the side view the floor raising a little bit. And they usually, in the videos, they show the doors open. And I assume that's because, you know, it's hot in there. There's no air conditioning. And that is a big opening to kind of let the air flow through there. So I might have someone standing there or something. But, yeah, that's everything I got here. I think my next step, what I'd like to do is, so I'm really limited by this connector. This was very difficult to get all 4 wires in there. So I don't want to add 2 more wires to add some lighting. So I'm thinking about putting another DCC controller in here that's function only. And the museum they have a light that's in the top left and top right. So that would be a light. And then the front has a headlight. And the connector right here, there's enough room right here for a set of connectors right here. And then the prototype has 2 hoses that connect the water from the water tender to the locomotive, and they're kind of drooping down right here. So that would be perfect for 2 wires to emulate those pipes, those tubes, and then have that kind of zigzag through up to inside of the housing here. And this had an oil lamp. So it had a little tank in there, and it had a little dial in there, and so they just threw just a regular lamp in there. It was more of a marker than a headlight. Yeah, that might be next. I'm going to take a break from this project. I think it's pretty good. But that might be next. Yeah, that looks like it. Thanks for watching.